Hello, this is Professor V. Welcome to an episode of Linux Administration. So, today what I wanted to look at was actually practicing some of these commands in Fedora and kind of explaining what's going on with Linux. So, those of you that are getting into Linux, you should know that it's an operating system, right? It provides a kernel that can talk to the inputs and outputs of a computer, which is fancy for saying it talks to the keyboard, an input, talks to the mouse, which is an input, and it talks to microphones, which is also an input. And then it also does out, so the basic out that we have, the output is going to be our screen and speakers. So anyways, I'm going to be going through my book here. It's the Linux Professional Institute Certification Study Guides. This is a book I got when I went to IET school. So, alright, let's get started. So we have two things. We have the graphical user interface, or the GUI, the GUI, and essentially this is the format that most of us know, right? We know to click on folders, it opens folders, you know how to click on different, in Linux it's going to be called directories though, so just FYI. So right now I'm standing in the /home/m Valerio directory. Sorry, I was going to call it a dictionary. So I'm in this directory right now, and I'm also in this directory here on the command line interface, the CLI. So in the command line interface, in order for me to view the files, I'll have to do an ls. And you'll see the folders are going to be the same thing. Desktop, documents, download, music. So I am literally standing here at my computer. Now if I wanted to go a step back, I would just be at /home. And you're going to see two users there. So now if I CD, so ls is to list files. CD is to change directory. So if I do ... it'll take me one directory back. And actually, you know what? Let me do something first. Let's do a pwd. So pwd is print walking directory. So that'll show you that I was standing in the same place. And let me ls one more time before I kind of deviate and lose you guys. So you'll see that I was still in this, I was able to view the files, list files inside of /home Mr. Valerio. So let me go ahead and do a clear command. So clear basically clears your screen from all the stuff you've been typing. So now what I want to do is go cd ... And now if I print my walking directory, I'm only going to be at /home, just like my file here, my file browser. So if I hit ls, I should see two files, mvalerio and tilo, which is what I'm also seeing here. Now we could go all the way back to what's called the root directory, and this is the most, I don't want to say the basic, but it is the primary directory, I guess, if you must, right? So in here we'll see the binary files, the boot files, all sorts of different files, the libraries, medias, different logs, systems. So there's all kinds of stuff here. We'll go over the directories as we move forward, but for now let's just stick to the listing of files and stuff. So to get there, I'm going to have to cd ... And now if I print my walking directory, I'm just in / like I am here. So I'm in the root directory is what we call it. Now if I ls here, I'm going to see the bin, dev, home, bin, boot, dev, home, lib. So they're in different orders actually, but it's still the same. Oh, I think it's going downward, right? Bin, boot, dev, etc, yeah. Alright. So bin, boot, dev, etc. The other one in the GUI is going horizontally. So alright, so that's how we can list our files within the Linux system. So what I'm going to do is change directories and go to my /home. Then if I ls, I'm going to change directories back to my mvaledio. So what that does is it takes me back to where I started with desktop, documents, downloads, music. So that's right now where I'm standing. So right now I am standing in my home folder. /home/mvaledio. So alright. Let me go ahead and do a clear real quick so we can start practicing some commands. So we can make a directory from the GUI, right? But the beautiful thing about Linux is that we can actually, it could run as a server, right? So many Linux instances are run as servers, and if it's a server, usually you secure shell into it. So if we were in that mode frame where we're running a server and it's screenless, right? We can make directories from the command line. So mkdir will make a directory called test. Oh, I might already have one. Okay. So let me make a test1. So now if I ls, you're going to see I have two directories, a test and a test1. Well, for this one, the test1 appeared, right? We already had the test appear before. So now that I have the test1, what I want to do is go ahead and change directory into that. So if you guys want to pause and get ahead, you know, the command should be cd test1. So now if I ls, well, there's nothing in there. So that's pretty much what I've done, right? I made a directory and it's empty. So now if I wanted to make a file, what I could do is do touch test1, and if I ls, I now have a file within the directory. So touch will make a file. And if I go to the GUI, you're also going to see test1. Now in making a file, you can make different types. So I could do test2.txt, and the .txt extension will make this a text file, right? So if I go back to the GUI, you're going to see I have a .txt test2 file. And for this one, I'm just going to do one more, because in the book it just says to create the 3 test files. And actually I was supposed to call them 1, 2, 3, but it's okay. It's okay. Now that I think about it, the test1 might be a little bit confusing, but understand it's a file within the directory test1. So the way the book wanted me to do it was do touch 1, 2, 3. So I'll just have 6 files in here. So when you put a space between the touch, you can actually make multiple files at once. So 1, 2, and 3. Alright. So hopefully I haven't lost you guys yet. Now what it's telling us is we could do ls-lt, and we see some more information here. So you'll notice that when I add the dash and the lt, these are called options. The options provide us with what's called permissions, which we will go over that. R for read, W for write, and then X for execute. So we'll talk about that later. This belongs to the user mvaledio, the group is mvaledio, and this file was created September 2nd, 1118, and the file name is 1. Okay. Let's see what else they want. So we could also, what it's trying to tell me is do ls-l3. So if we just want one specific file to view, we can also iterate that to the command line. We do it after the option. So we do ls to list the file. So what command should the computer run? -l to list all the permissions and the extra information. And if we don't specify what file, it's going to do them all in the directory. But if we do specify what file we want to see, it's only going to show us the information for that file. Okay, what else do we have? So you could push up on the arrow key and you're going to see all the previous commands that you've been typing. So, and if you go down on the arrow key, you will also go down. So it's pretty nice to be able to copy a command you were using. Okay, so press the right arrow key once and type ES. So we have the less command is what it's trying to go over. So less, and then it's also saying that we can usually use tab to iterate that it can look for the command for us. But we could do less and then -L and 3. So it shows us whatever's in the file, but right now there is nothing in the file, so let's see, what else does it want us to do? So I don't like this example. It's a little bit weird to me, so what I want to do is go ahead and go into my text file. So I'm going to go into test2.txt and just write something. Hello there. Oops. And I'm sorry that's kind of small, but we're just going to stick with it. I'm going to save it. Close this off. So now if I do the less command, what I want to do is less, and it should be test2, right? .txt. So what less does is it shows me the last 5 lines of a file. I'm gonna have to do another example. I'm realizing that some of these are a little bit silly in the book because it's not really. I mean, we should be doing less to a file that has more info. But I am kind of just thinking outside the box and how I was shown this stuff, so. And the last thing I think I'm going to leave you with is the man command. So man stands for manual, so if, let's say you forgot what the heck we were doing with ls, you could do man, and then what manual do you want, for what command do you want the manual? And it'll have a lot of information, so if you forget something, you know, you can access this documentation. We could do -A to see all directories, so if there's any hidden files or anything. You can do the author command to print the author of each one. So -L, right? We were able to see who owned the file. B is escape. So there's quite a few options, you know, -C with LT, sort by, and show C time. The last modification of the file. So if you add some of these with the other commands, you'll get to see more information. -D will list the directories themselves, but not their content. So there's quite a bit, like I say, you know, don't get too overwhelmed with this stuff. When working with Linux, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. Let's do man print walking directory. So, you know, just take it easy on yourself. Some, like print walking directory, some commands don't have a lot inside of them. We could look at the symbolic links, but that's another video for later. And we could like man touch. So change file timestamps, update the access and modification times of each file to the current time. A file argument that does not exist is created empty. So when you don't have anything in it, it just creates an empty file. Unless -C or -H is applied, so no create. Do not create files if you do -C. And dash H will more or less do the same thing, but it works with symbolic links, which we'll talk about later. You could do the timestamp, so you could also see the timestamp here. And that's about it. So I think that's where I'm going to leave you with, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I say, Linux is kind of a tricky thing, but it's really worth it. You know, if you take the time to work this out, you're going to have a great time. It just takes patience. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.